Going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Boys, and you're here for another Facts Project review. Today, we are going to be talking about Bug Wars, #1 for Image Comics, of course, done by Jason Aaron, who you know from his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle run, his Thor run, also art done by Mahmoud, Asrar, colorist Matthew Wilson, and letterer Becca Carey. I feel like I'm late to this, and I now understand why this particular book was the #1 creator-owned selling comic for the month of February. It takes you to a place. It's bizarre the way it happened. Like when you're reading through the initial chapters, like the first 6 pages are a war between insects, and like your imagination starts to run. And I'm not gonna say like there's a generational gap, but maybe a lot of y'all weren't outside. These are the things that before the age of the internet, before the age of social media, what you conjured in your mind as being in your backyard and being amongst nature, playing with insects, playing in dirt molds, hanging out at creeks. These were the initial things that were happening. So this initial battle that you see before you between the ant colonies and the Beetle Tribes were like something of imagination. Take for instance that one particular segment of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Of course, the kids get shrunken down into the yard, and one of the insect that they befriend is an ant. And at one point in time, it takes on a scorpion. I mean, the ant dies in there, and that was probably one of the saddest parts. Another childhood trauma that happened in the 80s. But it takes you to like those sort of things, but to have an imagination like this to build onto a storyline of actual battles happening in your backyard amongst the insects that are there. And we are introduced to Slade Slaymaker. Already a dope name. I mean, if your protagonist has that type of name, you think of this more fearsome character, but yet he's being portrayed by a young, I'm going to say preteen or initial teenage boy who has a brother named Sydney, who at 5 years old witnessed his father somewhat being eaten alive by bugs because he studied bugs for this long period of time. But the barbarian metropolis of Swarm City, as they called it, this violent hive that is all throughout the yard. All these bugs know each other, each of them sectioned by their colonies. The ants have their side, beetles have their side, the wasp, spiders, so on and so forth. But how this is basically built, and the thought of world building, as we always talk about in comics, as being a big factor in this, causes this to be just amazing. The Slaymaker household moves to their dad's old compound in Alabama, and he of course worked with these bugs down in his basement, studied them in detail till ultimately his demise. And his son was too young to know who his father was, but he ultimately picks up his habits with his love and affection for bugs. Sid, on the other hand, because he's had to live with that trauma of the bugs being surrounded by his dad. Don't know if the bugs killed him or not, but better yet, it's like knowing that what he saw at 5 years old, understanding that a bunch of insects were surrounding his dad's carcass, eating him alive from the inside out, caused this PTSD that he holds over not only maybe his mom, the household, his little brother who now loves the insects, but he's almost like an 80s older brother character. He's like the bully of his little brother, and especially due to the fact that he loves insects. So when we get to that rousing conclusion at the end of issue 1, where Sydney breaks into Slade's bedroom and just starts killing all the bugs that he has inhabited in their little tanks, and is just stepping and stomping and has like bug spray and spraying all over the place. And this leads to Slade, of course, running down to his dad's office, finding a mysterious amulet which transports him into the backyard as the size of the insects that are roaming that backyard. And he's accompanied by I'm gonna say a almost like a bull beetle, like a rhino beetle, and he is intercepted by the Beetle clan. And this is how this series ends, where you understand that, like, Slade's character, being a human down here with the insects, is stronger than what he believes. You see that at the end of the series, the end of issue 1. And then that, of course, is going to propel this series going forth. But I gotta tell you, you know, it's imaginative, it's thought-provoking. For those of us that were outside, it takes you there, and I can't wait for more. I think Jason Aaron definitely chose the right storyline, and I believe from what I've read off of his Substacks and everything, where he's basing it off of his backyard in Alabama, because, you know, somebody of his age, like myself, had that opportunity to where, you know, we play with bugs. But I am going to be looking forward to issue 2, which is, as the time of this video is being released, it's going to drop next week. So I want to definitely talk more about this and can't wait to. So for those of us here at the Facts Project, look forward to us talking more about Bug Wars by Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Asrar very soon.